We keep hearing these stories all the time. Public sector staff, supposedly servants of this country, doing their jobs from exotic places around the world, paid for by us, the taxpayer. Well, according to a Freedom of Information release revealed by the Taxpayer Alliance, 2,000 public sector workers over the past 5 years have been given permission to do their UK-based jobs from foreign countries like Japan, Australia and even the Maldives. Nice work if you can get it. Given the nickname as Quangocrats, reasons for these people to work from abroad despite being based in the UK include working whilst visiting partners and family or extending trips outside of annual leave to cover urgent staffing shortages whilst on holiday. So basically, extending a foreign visit and working from there. It's outrageous. Which one of us here can get away with that? I can hear it now. Oh, by the way, boss, you know that holiday I have taken in the Maldives? Can I extend it and work from there? Hardly. Richard Holdham MP called it disgraceful and said Sunworshiping Quangocrats seem more interested in working on their tan lines than working on the British people. Some of those guilty of enabling this practice include the HMS Inspectorate of Probation, the Centre for Environmental Fisheries and the ONS. The latter have granted the most permissions for it. So whilst you and I struggle to keep things afloat, a load of unelected people who have extraordinary amounts of power to steer the destiny of this country are languishing in foreign paradises, assisting to create policy that they may never feel the effects of whilst abroad. Joanna Marchong, Investigations Campaign Manager of the Taxpayers Alliance, said taxpayers are growing ever more curious about what on earth the vast network of Quangos are actually doing and why so much power has been devolved to them. Ministers have handed significant control of services and policy to unelected bodies, frequently not based in London, limiting further their ability to hold them to account. And it's now been released that many staff are not just based outside London, they're often not based in the UK at all. Well, a government spokesperson said, "We expect civil servants to spend the majority of the time working from the office, and working outside of the UK must only be applied for in exceptional personal circumstances, such as bereavement." And many of these organisations stated do not employ civil servants and have their own working abroad policies. We are currently reviewing all arm's-length bodies to examine where organisations can be closed, merged or have power brought back into the department. Well, in my view, it should be mandatory for civil servants or public sector workers paid for by us, the taxpayer, to at least, at the very least, do their jobs for the country. And it is outrageous that some of them don't.
Have you been getting a load of spam in your email recently? What about random calls? It's really annoying, isn't it? Data brokers are out there collecting your personal information. Anything from your email, your full name, your address, and even your political affiliation. Cyber criminals can even use AI to mimic the voices of friends and family to trick people into sending them money. And it gets even worse. People out there are getting huge loans taken out in their names without even knowing about it. But don't worry, because the sponsor of this video, Incogni, can help. They reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information is removed from their databases. Incogni continues to make sure that your data is removed automatically from the internet via repeated removal requests. So, how can you get started? Well, step 1, hit the link in the description, create an Incogni account and tell us whose data you'd like removed. Step 2, grant Incogni the right to work on your behalf. Step 3, sit back, relax and watch Incogni work. They will update consistently so you know when your data has been removed. Incogni is risk-free for 30 days, so you can try it for yourself and you'll get a free refund if the service isn't for you. So take back your personal data today with Incogni. Use the code GBNews using the link in the description below and you'll get 60% off an annual payment plan.
Well, joining me now, political commentator Dominic Moffett. Dominic, am I being totally unfair?
Good afternoon, Nana. Well, yes, I think you are. I think this is a completely unnecessary attack on hardworking civil servants. What this report doesn't say is that civil servants aren't working. It says, in fact, that they are working. many of the civil servants you've mentioned, and I think it's important to say the ONS was one of the organisations you mentioned, and the Atomic Energy Agency is another one. The staff working at those agencies are often placed in international bodies, and they're working with their international counterparts. That's why they've got this permission. It's probably also important to note that the permission represents, I think it is 1/3 of 1% of civil servants being granted this at some point, not working all the time, just having some form of permission to work abroad. And in fact, it's nice to see that Rick Holden, the former chairman of the Conservative Party, is so concerned by it now. He wasn't so concerned about it when his party was in government for 14 years.
Well, I can totally take that point with him making a comment, but he can make the comment now, and he has. And I think he makes a good point. Look, even if it's a small minority of people doing it, that doesn't matter. The fact that they're actually able to do it and be paid from those locations, that it is totally open for people to then just take advantage of it. And I think under the backdrop of civil servants demanding to work from home, and a lot of us who cannot do that don't really have the option, and we're paying for it, do you not accept that it is a bit unnecessary and sticks in the craw just a bit?
Well, I mean, there are lots of people who have jobs that allow them to work from home some days a week. That's a perfectly standard working thing these days. And it's also taking advantage of modern technology. This is a kind of a Luddite view that you can't work effectively from home. Modern working practices show it's perfectly possible to work effectively, from home using digital technology. And I'm delighted to see that civil service is taking advantage of that modern technology.
Yeah, but they're not productive, are they? Let's be honest. And if you take people like the Home Office, for example, they have lots of civil servants and they have some awful backlog in every bit of thing that they seem to be doing. And as for the other bit about other people in other companies, well, they're not paid for by the taxpayer. So that's why I'm saying that. And a lot of the people in the quangos, again, arm's length, unaccountable bodies, getting the opportunity to be able to work in another country, and again, being paid for by us. That's the problem.
But I don't think that is the situation. It's not that they're not working, it's where they're working is what you're concerned about.
Well, and also, yeah, that's the point. But we're also paying for it.
Issues.
No, they're not. They're not. It's the fact that we're paying for it. So I'm being very clear that it's but the fact that we are actually paying for them to do that. Because you started off making a comparison with people in other companies, and I'm saying, well, that's fine for them. But when it is something that's being paid for by the taxpayer, then that's a different point.
So, Nana, are you saying that you don't want our working civil servants to be as productive as possible? Because the understanding I get of this is that this is about driving productivity. It's taking advantage of modern technology. It's ensuring that staff are there to cover exceptional need as well, which covers quite a few of those examples. And it's about supporting the individual when they're working abroad internationally. So instead of just going to meetings when they go on international conferences, when they're working in those bodies abroad, it's about making sure that they can work on that proper work that they're doing as well.
Well, that's a nice way of spinning it, yes. I mean, we could all say that, but a lot of them are actually on holiday and they extend a holiday. That's the problem, isn't it? So they're actually working from abroad whilst extending some sort of annual leave, or just going there and saying that there's a family issue where there may not be. It's easy for you to make up stuff. It's not that difficult. Who can check? And when I'm paying for it, I'd rather they actually just took more annual leave. I don't want to pay for them working from another location, and did it that way. They shouldn't be able to do that. We're paying for.
If they're doing their 8 hours of work a day, I don't see an issue with where anybody is working.
Well, you would say that.
Security implications, and of course, the government has said that this is not a right for everybody. This is something only granted in exceptional circumstances. But it doesn't matter where. So if they're delivering their 8 hours of work, it doesn't matter where they're delivering it from.
Well, I think it does. I really do think it does, especially when a lot of the time they're not as productive as they would be were they in the office. And also, we, the taxpayer, are also paying for expensive office space that they're not actually in. So I'd rather they came back.
Well, you're absolutely welcome to want that. I, for one, would like to see a civil service that is working as effectively as possible because it's got motivated staff who are happy in their workplace and that they can take advantage of the same benefits that people can in other businesses to ensure that we don't lose the best civil servants to the private sector.
So you're saying that if they didn't get an opportunity to work in the Maldives or wherever it is, when they go on a holiday or extend the holiday, that they might leave the civil service? I don't think that's true. Because if they could work in a private company, in a private private company would allow that, which most won't, then I think you'll find that they would stay in the civil service, especially with the massive pensions that they also get as well. They'd probably be unwise to leave. I mean, surely, if they wanted to go, I just don't buy that argument ever. When people say, oh, well, if they can go off somewhere else and they could work more, so we needed to give them this so that they stay.
Well, Nana, I'm surprised to hear that you don't believe in the strength of the free market. I would have expected...
I never said that. That's a totally... No, I never said that. No, I never said that.
It's the free employment market, isn't it?
No, but I never said that.
Look, I think this is, and the rhetoric around it is evidence. It's an ideological opposition to the civil service. It's a desire to cut the civil service significantly. It doesn't believe in the power of the state to affect change, which I do and lots of other people do.
Well, I don't think it's ideological. I think it's factual that they are working from other locations whilst doing their job. And a lot of people, taxpayers in particular, who are funding it, are looking at it and saying, no, it's taken the proverbial, because in normal real life, in most of the private sector jobs, that opportunity to go and do that, if you're abroad and you can't make it to come back to your office or whatever, you'd probably be sacked. Listen, thank you very much, Dominic. It's really good to talk to you.